so hard for me to hit record because I just don't know what to say anymore. And I wanted to share something that happened earlier. Earlier today, I was cutting the grass, which had gotten really, really long. And at one point, cutting the grass, I looked down and I saw that I had run over a mouse. So, just in that moment of seeing the mouse and then noticing real quick that one of his paws was cut off, a little blood spot was on his leg, its leg. Half its tail was cut off, blood forming there where it was cut off. And instantly, a curse came out because I envisioned what I had just done fully right in the moment to that mouse because I couldn't see it. And realized fully it was because, I pushed a machine with whirling steel blades atop the mouse and cut it up, and it made a little squeak as I noticed those parts that were missing. So when it did the squeak and the twitch, in my mind, on top of realizing quickly what I had just been responsible for that life of that animal, that mouse, I thought it might still be alive, and I quickly realized I had to find something quickly to put it out of its misery, which I envisioned of yet the next step of something I'm so sick of, and that's the death. So there's deeper reasons for this story and why I'm sharing this, if you can listen, if you can hear it. Anyway, I started to walk around the yard with the tears and the snot because I was angry with myself as well. But I couldn't have noticed this and that. It was an accident. And you might only be saying, oh, it's only a mouse. And if you are, I hope you keep listening. Because I was heartless in the past. And it's a bad, broken place to be inside. Anyway, my wife noticed. She asked what was wrong, and I said a mouse. And I ran it over. I could barely just get out a couple words. And I kept looking for a couple of bricks that I knew were out in the yard. And she went over, turned it over, and she said, Ron, it's all right. It's already gone. It's just its nerves. Its back was all bloody, I saw. And I hadn't bothered to turn it over or check it or anything because I knew the damage was so bad it was like it was going to die. Because another thought occurred right in that moment of looking at the wounds on it of my cannabis oil, because I've used the cannabis oil to try and soothe the pain of other animals in the past. I've gotten a lot of healing benefits out of it myself, and if nothing else, I know it could soothe little ones by just giving them a good dose of the oil. But I knew it was well past that, so I couldn't help it. Anyway, she let me know it was just nerves. There was more damage to its back. Its spine had been severed too, so it was just the nerves. So it was quick at least. Still doesn't change the fact that I'm responsible for it, for that death of that mouse, of that life. And like I've tried to make clear in so many other videos, I wasn't like that for many years because of how poisoned I was inside, because of all the reasons I've mentioned before. But now over the last few years of really coherent, clear life with clarity inside and being able to feel and use my mind's eye to look inward and use my own imagination to actually see what's happening in reality for real and take responsibility for it. Well, it allows me to picture all those things and line it up with reality. And I want to help life because I turned from that whole bullshit mindset of the warrior or whatever other archetype out there, bullshit warrior, fighter, whatever. defender, protector, like the military. You have to be becoming so poisoned and heartless and that shit. That's what those poisons are for. And that's why there's a lack of care for life out there in all these systems, because all the poisons and poison information they're pumped full of these different roles they're trying to fulfill. Anyway, a deeper appreciation of life, especially one's own, is very necessary, especially right now. And that's why I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't even want to hit record. All the nonsense, the lies about the fake virus, and folks being kept in their homes under these fake ass laws and rules of broken children that rule them, keeping them inside locked up so all that tension and fear can build in them. And then some realize during that it was all a fake and a hoax anyway, so then they're ashamed of themselves for being in that fear state because they were tricked and fooled. But the other ones that are still tricked by the fake ass sickness out there as they suffocate themselves, deprive themselves of oxygen, which the respiratory system needs, so all the other systems in the body can function correctly. They're living out these horror movies in their minds that are just put into their imaginations because their mind's eye have been taken over. They can't look inward with their mind's eye. They can only look externally and relate things to fake ass images they've been shown throughout their whole lives, just like I used to do. That whole time I was growing up and watching the TV, looking at the TV, and then join the military, get pumped full of poisons and indoctrination, and just become a heartless fucking shell of an individual as I ran around doing all this bullshit for all these interconnected systems of the same nonsense. It's all built on a foundation of lies. Lies and conquest and the generational lie of war. War because others said so, because of whatever fucking reason and label. And attach a symbol like a flag to it, get folks to feel some kind of pride or some kind of way in that symbol, and then just unleash them on each other. It's been just a generational trick. So how's that tying with the mouse? Well, I don't know. I guess talking about the mouse now and how I feel about life now and what I see happening and playing out now, and folks causing all this other very real harm to themselves and each other just because they don't know themselves inside well enough to see each other with the commonality they all have with each other as mankind and womankind. Those are pretty important terms. Man and kind, because kind is in that thing. Kind might connotate the need for a heart and care and empathy, like the empathy one might have for causing pain and death to another living thing, even such as a mouse, because it's not all about this less than or more than or labels or this or that, or who controls what life or steers what life or who's above what. Shit. So how it ties together is, well, I don't know, after the 21 year plus some months of time in the cavalry, I'm here to tell you and been here and for the last few years been trying to let you all know, I don't think the cavalry's coming. They're not. I used to be the goddamn cavalry and I was good at it. And I didn't know what the fuck was going on in reality in this world I was born into, or any of the foundational lies of, well, I don't know, things I've talked about in the past and so many others have talked about in the past and are talking about presently to try and prevent a future of horseshit that folks are just playing along with. So now when images are shown of death or harm being conducted on another by man or womankind, well, there's no kindness there, is there? That's what that imagery is for of the TV. So real or fake, it doesn't matter because you'll make an emotional connection and think that's real. And then, like I saw with what I was responsible for, with the pain I just caused and the death that was happening right there, that curse of fuck. The difference is I could reconcile it and take responsibility for it because I was a part of that what just happened right there. The difference out there is when folks see some kind of harm being played out, these fake psyops and shit, and the real ones, because real harm being played out on others is what they want. Who's they? Doesn't matter what label you want to attach to them. They're the ones that are running around with labels attached working for they that don't wear labels. Doesn't matter. Don't get hung up on the bullshit details. That's where they want to keep you trapped. So you can't coherently grab control of your mind's eye and look inward and get control of your imagination and not relate it to bullshit movie images. Because right now you got folks playing out all these different kind of Call of Duty video games and motherfucking Black Hawk Down movies in their mind out there getting geared up. It's nonsense. You're falling for the same generational traps of black, white, left, right, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter. Christian, Muslim, it doesn't matter what belief system you want to go with. Because man and womankind, no matter what color or hue of flesh you might wear, I'm not saying it's not important where you come from, what you look like, and your folks that are like you, and how you grow up. I'm not saying it's irrelevant. I'm saying there's deeper commonality that goes deeper than the hue of one's skin. Human. Mankind with kindness. Womankind with kindness. Take the man and the woman off it. Take the D off it too. And you get kin. Because some kind of way, going back far enough, if one can look inward with their mind's eye and feel with their heart, they can realize we come from some common place that's above all of us, I would say, because I found that place. Just to know that and to know that and put that authority above me. Not other man or woman's authority, that authority. The Creator, the Most High. And you're going to sit there and play the fucking name game. So that's what I got to say. The Calvary isn't coming. You're it. Whoever you are. Stop falling for the same generational game. And please don't look for me for the answer. I don't have it. The only answers I've been able to find are answers inside. The message I've been trying to give is to let others know they have to seek and find the answers inside them. And that is through all the poisons. And that takes getting rid of the poisons. The physical, mental, and spiritual poisons. Because those layers of growth, physical, mental, spiritual, or that trinity of growth, it has to happen inside each. It just needs to. And that's what's been hidden from all of us. That's what the education system was for. Keep you trapped in a fractured physical outlook. A flawed outlook on a flawed reality. Because it's based on all these systems of deception that have been going on for generations. We've all just born into it, chose our roles, and then just played along. Just stop playing along. Please. Because I don't know what else to say to hell. Each out there still causing the harm. And believing in this group, that group, this label, or that label, and are being steered and controlled to harm each other. All of everyone. Everyone has to take the time to reflect and find how to be responsible inside. And why don't I have the answers? Because I grew up in this system not knowing how to I never learned to satisfy the basic needs of my life as a man should know. To provide for myself food, water, shelter. On my own, self-sufficient, not dependent on any of these fake systems. I'm still not there yet after a few years of coherency. Because I'm learning, still trying to learn and struggling while everything's being destroyed. So I know it's kind of too late unless all the others out there realize what's going on, snap out of it. Part of that mental, spiritual growth in the physical body, though, and tying that together into a place of knowing what's going on, also lets me live in that place of calm inside. Of the whole order out of chaos that needs to happen. That's an internal process to bring order internally to the chaos internally. That takes getting the physical toxins out of the body so all the systems of the body can function correctly and the mind can function correctly and develop. So one can develop their own spirit, independent of bullshit, external belief. I have a coin sitting in there. A square coin, of course. It was a square given to me by the division sergeant major when I was in Iraq the second time in 2007, which I fully realized the lies of all that stuff now. I've talked about this stuff, just part of the generational lies and deception that's playing out right now still. Anyway, on that coin, for the 3rd Infantry Division, there's a bulldog. The bulldog was the mascot of the 3rd Infantry Division. The bulldog's name was Rocky. Later, I would come to find out, in the past some odd whatever years since I retired. Anyway, realizing just the jokes upon jokes and layered jokes that were played on all of us, man. That bulldog, it was a drawing, I guess, done by Walt Disney for the 3rd Infantry Division. Walt Disney, part of the whole Disney and the fake space program and going back to the whole, that Operation Paperclip, all that nonsense, right? Werner von Braun. How it's all tied together. And that was the mascot for the 3rd Infantry Division. And though I smile, it's not funny. It's not a joke. It's a sick freak show that's been played on everyone. Fake ass space to make you think you live on a fake ass globe. And then they give you a bulldog named Rocky so it ties to the imagery of Rocky, like the fighter, like the movies, because that's all it was all a bunch of movies playing out in my mind, and that's how so many are acting right now. So that's how it is. You want the truth? You can't handle the truth. Son, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Who's going to do it? You, Lieutenant Weinberg? I have a greater responsibility than you can possibly fathom. I'll just stop right there and I could continue the whole fucking ridiculous, sorcerous fucking speech. Those are to create imagery to make you feel a certain way about a certain thing, a certain uniform, a certain idea, a certain flag, a certain way of life that you were told is a certain way. That was all a fucking lie at its foundation. So, if you're still one of the ones like I was for so many decades running around relating everything you see to some fucking movie clip or some image you were shown on the TV or NASA or the fucking news, any of the script readers or your textbooks, and you remember those words you read in the broken logic it taught you in your mind and in your imagination, you play out a random ass image of some shit because you can't use your mind's eye to look inwardly and use your own imagination for yourself yet? I couldn't for so long. Why? Because of all the toxins and poisons, eating all the processed food, meat, dairy, fucking chemicals, getting injected with metals and DNA and cancerous cells and animal cells and the vaccines, and drinking all the sodas and all the fetal cells and all these ridiculous things. Folks are just fed. They're just taught to suck it up and eat it up. Once enough on the bottom realize we've all been fucking slaves all along and accept it and break out of the fear and shame consciousness of that realization of going, was it really all a lie? Pretty much. It's not good, I would say, in my humble opinion, to say everything or all or things like that, because that takes on a whole new connotation of level of thought and authority, of which one might realize they don't have inside in their heart when they feel what they've really been responsible for this whole time. And what we're all responsible to fix right now, if any of us want a better future for not us. Because if you're still on that, I don't know. We're all important, but I'm saying it's more important for, like, the children. I have children. I have children that have children. I have grandchildren. I'm part of the reason this place is so broken, because I played along as part of all these systems, just like so many others. Everyone in the systems have to stop. The systems don't run on their own. They run with the very real physical and mental energy being put into it by the empty of spiritual energy, soulless beasts that are at the top of these systems, that are controlling those beneath them. Religion, education, government, manufacturing, commerce, legal, it doesn't matter. Legality is the bastardization of morality. The globe was a bastardization of nature. And one can prove all these things to themselves. The teaching of how nature was even taught is a bastardization within itself. Like, each has to learn on their own for themselves. That's what it comes down to. Anyway, when each can process the trauma inside them that's occurred in them up to this point and realize what's going on, they can stop creating more traumatic events for themselves and others with their own simple willpower and self-control. I'll leave it at that. Thank you for listening.